Breaking news, guys. A raging leftist intersectional feminist was caught as being a hypocrite. Before we begin, make sure to drop a like on this video since it helps in terms of ranking, search, and discovery. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to it and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of the newest videos on the channel. Do you guys remember Kevin Hart? The wholesome, highest grossing comedian. He was supposed to host the Oscars until he got cancelled out of it for homophobic tweets from 2009 to 2011. Do you guys remember Carson King, the guy who held a sign saying Busch Light supply needs to be replenished? That guy got a ton of donations because of that sign that he later donated to charity. The amount was $1 million worth of donation. If you don't remember the story, some leftist journalist from Des Moines dug up his old tweet from 8 years before he donated that $1 million sum, and it was a Tosh.0 quote that was deemed racist. Funnily enough, it completely backfired on that reporter because when people were looking through the reporter's past tweets, they found an actual racist tweet that got him fired. Good times. Well, what do you know, what do you say? The left has done it again with a well-known leftist named Mona Eltahawy, who's a well-known intersectional feminist. Most of you will recognize her if you watched her appearance on ABC Australia's Q&A show, where she went on an unchallenged, purely insane, gender studies-driven tirade that will make your ears bleed. Mona Eltahawy is known as very pro-trans, as some of you might expect, and she's anti-TERF, obviously. TERF, for the uninitiated, means trans exclusionary radical feminist, which is a term thrown easily around against people who make biologically sound argument, let's just say. TERFs are actually the first instance of the left eating itself because the current progressive agenda is so contradictory in nature. For some reason you have this unholy alliance between women who are supposedly for women's rights and equality walking hand in hand with a very patriarchal religion that is the biggest human rights violator, including women, as far as religions go. They also have the LGBT community, which said religion that I can't say its name because it would get me demonetized. That religion throws those LGBT people off of roofs. The LGBT community would call anyone that won't sleep with trans people a bigot. That includes those lesbian women who are usually the TERFs. So you have a group that stands up for women's rights, allying itself with the group that stands up for the rights of men who are transitioned to women, amongst other things, and a religion that violates women's rights and kills LGBT people, although not the T in some countries like Iran, which is a subject for another video completely. Mona Eltahawy has faced the scrutiny of the left, which usually means digging up old tweets to smear your character, and that's exactly what happened when they struck gold and found an 80-year-old tweet of hers from December 2011, where she said, and I quote, "To be clear, I have no issue at all with trans models. I have an issue with lingerie companies passing off a man's body as a woman's without saying." Now here at SJW Central we completely disavow this kind of bigotry and condemn Mona's words no matter how factually correct they are. This is definitely a TERF and conservative argument that she had just spewed, and it's definitely phobic. When she got found out, she went into immediate damage control mode, saying, and I quote, "I want to address this. I'm embarrassed and I apologize for what I said in the tweet from 2011. 9 years ago I didn't have the language to describe trans people or issues correctly. I've learned a lot and I continue to learn how best to be an ally. I will continue to fight bigotry." First of all, the tweet was 8 years ago if I want to be a stickler. She definitely says 9 years because it makes it feel less serious. Do I believe she had changed her opinions after 8 years? Most likely, yes. 8 years is a lot of time and people can change in the matter of few months, especially their opinions. So that's not what we rake her over the coals for. We rake her over the coals for being a part of this side that had used this old tweet tactic for years to smear and cancel other people, and they stood by while it happened at best case scenario. Most of the time they ride their moral high horse and shame people like Kevin Hart for what is now a 10-year-old tweet, or a guy who quoted a joke 8 years ago after he donated $1 million to charity. But that's not even the best of it, guys. Now we have leftist blue check marks trying to horribly defend Mona with this golden take. TERFs using Gamergate tactics, I see. Search someone's old tweets, then act like it's impossible for that person to have grown or changed even a little since. For those of you that don't know, Gamergate had started as a movement to fight left-leaning bias and the politicization of gaming by journalists who gave bad games good reviews because the developer had slept with them. Gamergate is like the biggest left-wing boogeyman that they love to use against everything. Them saying that digging up old tweets is not a left-wing tactic all of a sudden is just an amazing, Stalin-esque revision of history. You would have to be medically retarded to buy into that belief. Sophia Nawitz, who's a trans content creator, adeptly responded on Twitter. Tell that to the left-wing journalists at Kotaku, Vox and elsewhere who continue to trash people over old tweets. But yep, only your boogeyman does that. I myself hate cancel culture and I think it should die the slowest of deaths possible. In that slow death, I want to see taking down a few leftist figures who have used the same tactic, just like that Des Moines writer. In essence, I don't like it, but when it's used against the agents who carried it out, it feels like sweet poetic justice, and I'm sure everyone is behind that. Thank you guys for watching the video, comment your opinions, drop a like before you leave the video, and subscribe so you won't miss any of the next ones. See you in the next one.